Hi, this is my semi-final bout in veteran men's épée at Tdh from October 2023. My opponent is Lorenzo Gavilli. This is the first time I've ever fenced him. From watching previous bouts, I could tell that he was very defensive, very blade-oriented. So my general game plan was to try to get him to attack me rather than me trying to find a way through his defenses. Since we are starting off the first period, we're just trying to feel each other out, get a sense for what the other one's trying to do, and see if we can find some openings or some weaknesses. At this point, I just found a opening. It seemed like I caught him by surprise. I guess I was preoccupying him with the wrist arm area, and didn't look like he was expecting a low line attack. I think he was telegraphing on this one. I did a fake. He made a parry, and then I just tried to recreate the moment really quickly before he realized and got a hit on the arm. He's down to nothing now, so he obviously is trying to make a change, and he starts to press me a bit more. And I was trying here to just draw another attack out of him, and I guess I got a bit too close. Maybe my lunge should have been maybe half lunge or a bigger step just to try to pull him in. And I guess I got a bit too close here, and I didn't feel this hit, so it must have just landed. Here, I think my footwork was a bit predictable, and he caught on to my timing. And then we get into a bit of a core. I had one or two chances to hit him on his left side, and they didn't land. So I went for a preem, which I sometimes do, and this is very low percentage. And I guess my head turned, and he hit the inside of my mask somewhere, and it flew off. And that's the first time anything like that has ever happened to me in 20 years of fencing. And I thought, I guess at this point, that when the Core occurred, that the referee would call halt, and that didn't happen. And in the moment, I thought that that hit should have been taken away because of the Core, but I guess the referee didn't see it that way. And perhaps looking at this again, I could have gotten a yellow card for turning my back. And I think the solution is to find a better option than that. I guess prime remise or whatever you want to call it. Now that we're tied, he lets me start to advance and like put pressure on him again. I'm kind of surprised that happened, given that his last two attacks he was pressuring me. So this gives me the opportunity to start going back to my original game plan of trying to pull him into an attack and let him fall short, and then I can counterattack over him. And this is, I think, one of the few points where that really works out and my plan works. I get pretty lucky here. I try a low line attack, and I think I fell short. But I guess when he started his counter, looked like a flush. I guess I had enough chance to get the remise in, and that's a pretty lucky action for me to get at that point because he looked like he had my timing down right there. He's down by 2 points again, and he starts to pressure again. And I think at this one, he just caught me flat footed. I think I had a bit of a loss of concentration here, and he really took advantage. Nice quick hit, and I wasn't ready at all. There's about 4 seconds left on the clock, and once in a while, when I feel my opponent is not aware of the time, I like to launch an attack and time it so that if any counter, like parry riposte, counter attack, there's not enough time and the box times out. I mistimed this one by about 2/100ths, if I remember, and I guess it was just not a good idea against this type of fencer. I know he's has a strong blade action, so I would have to do a really nice action, and I made a pretty big mistake at this point to give away a point. The feedback from my coach was to continue preparations with my original game plan and make sure I have a well prepared action ready, because when that happens, I'll have a higher chance of winning the point, and needing to stay focused and avoid lapses in judgment. Those last 2 points were examples of losing focus. So just keep on pushing and trying to generate the action that you really want. Here, I got the action that I wanted. Maybe I didn't disengage fast enough, or my point was off target. I don't remember that particular sequence, but I thought I had gotten a double here, and I guess I must have missed him. Based on the footwork that I was doing, it looked like there was no threat on my first couple of steps in preparation. So I think he just launched an attack and prep because he knew that I wasn't going to be ready for that. And I was thinking about all of his defensive parries, and I was way too close to counterattack. I'm down by 2 points now, so I'm in pretty big trouble against a defensive uh, fencer like this. So I'm just going to try to find an opening, and I've found that there was a good opportunity for a toe hit. He was pretty much waiting for me to come at him high line or to his wrist and his elbow again. So this time it worked out. For some reason, he starts doing a lot of actions in sixth. So I think he's telegraphing at this point. I really don't have much of a choice. I have to try to take an opportunity here, and I do a feint wrist, and then I drop to the knee. I think that's a new wrinkle that he wasn't expecting, and it worked out. He seems to be pressing me a bit more, and he launches an attack from pretty far away where I almost caught him, but I still see a lot of actions where he's finishing in sixth, so I try another um, action in sixth. I try to launch it really fast because I'm a bit closer this time, and hope that he doesn't catch on in time. I make a pretty big mistake here. He had been finishing in sixth, he hadn't changed, and I should have continued with either the high line, low line action or the feint disengage that I just did. And for some reason, I have a lapse in concentration, and I just tried to step in on his wrist, and he wraps me up in sixth and makes me pay for making that big lapse in judgment. I'm pretty lucky on this double. This is the same situation as his fourth point just before the end of the first break, where I just launch an attack with no preparation. He wraps me up, it looks like in second, and I somehow get a remise in there. And that was just really lucky. I have to have better preparation than that if I want to score a point. With my opponent having priority, I should probably be taking about 45 seconds to really set up a good counterattack where he launches at me in preparation. Um, as you can see, I'm pretty aggressive where I don't have to be. I think that's just I'm a bit out of practice for overtimes, and I could have taken a lot more time to just get ready to get the action that I want, and then just pushing a bit too hard. There's no way I'm going to get a single when I'm pushing that hard and I'm looking for a counterattack. I either should have pulled the distance a bit more, or um, actually just launch maybe a really compound flash, maybe like a beat flash or a prise de fer type flash. Not definitely not a direct one, but I'm really stuck in between two or three actions, and I really didn't pick one, so I keep on getting doubles. That last one, I really thought I had the single on that one. I thought I was far enough away. I thought I had generated a good distance and good timing for that one. I guess I just was again a bit too close, where the it's not going to be successful. With that toe hit, I think if I had prepared that one a bit more, like given him a bit more threats around the wrist, I could have set that one up and tried to get him to pay attention to his wrist, start a parry, and I could have gone low line, and I might have gotten that. The problem with that is if he does a low line parry, I'm in pretty big trouble. I'd have to remise out. I think I got the one before, but that's not exactly the best plan to have to score a point in overtime. Is hope a remise bails you. On that last hit, I was definitely trying to think of an attack. I have about 15 seconds left. I'm caught flat-footed. He wraps me up. I think it's in cart, and just makes me pay for it. I had to be a bit more aware. Again, I think the theme of that overtime was I was just too close on all of those actions, and I had to spend the majority of the overtime setting up my action from a longer distance, and then I can just kind of hope and pray in those last 10 seconds with something else. But yeah, that's uh, definitely was surprised when he started that attack.